time has come. The Fortnite Global Championship, Taco, all year long, 33 teams from around the world have been battling from major to major to major just to get the opportunity here. If it's not for the money, if it's not for the fame, it's to call yourself the best in the world.
It's all about that player pride, Jacob. We know just how much is truly contained amongst so many of these trios competing here today, but starting things off hot already. This is an off-spawn fight that we have been expecting to see, and what I really want to know is the shake-up, the outcome. Prodoxy trying to get that first touchdown. Prodoxy gets the first weapon. Sure enough, Atris on the run, still trying to see if he can score away from this, but Pablo, he's been taken down. Chino's fallen too. It's Tayson with the comeback. Prodoxy trying to see if he can lock it down for his team, but Tayson determined to remove Prodoxy's team, and sure enough, disaster strikes. Prodoxy's trio fully down and out for the count, and Tayson has claimed the area. But Tayson's got such an excellent position in that secondary height layer now, shooting towards that front side of zone. It's only Clicks and Iyamzo. They lost Higgs somewhere along the way. Iyamzo doing what he can to claim a little bit of space here next to Clicks, but ideally, they're going to have to duke it out in the low ground, Jacob. They need a big refresh. They've got to keep that material count high, but Mustache, he's actually fallen the mid-ground, getting a little bit too chaotic, and he just couldn't break through.
Yeah, Chicho's the one that gets the down, but Kadu's the one that steals away the elimination and getting a lot of loot for their efforts. Queasy trying to do the same thing. Steal whatever is left back from Mustache. And you're seeing there's a decent amount of loot. The Flowberry Fizz, probably the most important part of the entire loadout that he has in that inventory is Benno, Quixie, Vico. They're still down below. They're trying to claim space, and with a minigun, that's just going to be a little bit easier. But with no extra shield, Vico's got to play a little careful here not to take too much damage. Swizzy, Queasy, same thing, but they have multiple splashes. They got the slurp juice. They got the key to success in their inventory.
But they don't have the material, so that's why Queasy just drops all the way down to ultimate low. They're hoping that they can pick up an elimination or two and then maybe look to try and challenge for a retake on height. They know how scuffed everybody's looking down here, but Vico finds that elimination onto Art. That's going to be a massive refresh here. Vico, though, getting beamed the moment that he tries to make a layer swap. He is immediately put down into the dirt. Clicks fighting for his life, still in the low ground, but he just can't hang. Offball's going to be the one to take him out.
Yeah, even though Clicks went down, the damage has been felt for that team that he just took out two different players in a tough situation. That's Tayson, Chicho, they're trying to look up, but that minigun is just causing so many distractions. They have to focus on getting to the front side of the zone, but they're being persistent. Down goes high ground. This is their chance. They're looking up. Striker gets cracked. He gets knocked altogether. Disco's taking damage. He's going to fall as well. Chicho is absolutely insane. As him and Tayson, they go from the on-spawn battle against Prodoxy to high ground in the end game.
But they're still going to need materials. Chicho has 0 build left to his name. All of his material count dropped to Tayson. Swizzy still holding his own as well. Deep inside of these ultimate low ground layers, he's looking to try and maybe cut off bolts in the process, but Kanata, Rapid, can the double revive actually be a success? And sure enough, it's a fully intact trio versus the sea of duos. Friesen finds a big elimination onto Swizzy though, and Chap going to immediately drop back. Tayson still on the high ground. This is looking primed up for Tayson to bring it home.
That was a huge knock for Bolts. They finished that elimination on the reason. This is a 2v2v2, and the only team alive with all three is going to be Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts. Ow, that's not my fault. I didn't curse him, but it is now just one less player that they have to worry about. Tayson trying to drop down low, but maybe a little too soon. Chicho as well. He gets shut down, and Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts steal the game.
Max Nada strikes again, and this time it's for the victory royale. He's been saying how confident he's been feeling all week long, Jacob, and after that performance, I can't help but believe him. And just like that, we're back. Game number 2 underway, and Jacob, after that performance from Kanata, Rapid, and Bolt, a standard has definitely been set.
Yeah, it was 9 eliminations. And the interesting thing out of them all, they're not even the team in first place. It's the Rangers Ruin off-spawn winners from game number 1, Tayson, Chicho, and Haris. And honestly, it's not going to be that easy all day long between these two teams. And honestly, I wouldn't wish it any other way. And we're going to go at it yet again, straight off the spawn. A little bit of 50-50 action going down between Pablo and Haris. Right now, it does look like Pablo might have got the first one. Proxy's able to get the second. That's a Sentinel pump and immediately put it to use. Gets the drop on Haris. They're going for revenge here, and so far 2 knocks, 2 eliminations. They just need one more as Pablo cleans that one up. That is all 3 down and out.
The world is their oyster right now.
From 11 to 13, big numbers in game 2. Agers Pollo trying to do the same thing, but they just run into speed bump after speed bump. Bolts gets the elimination. Active Storm Surge on the Agers. He does have some heals, but he needs to start figuring out where he's going to get the damage from as a solo. You see in the numbers just kind of tip and top, up and down, 30 to 20. He's trying to figure it out, but every 7 seconds, 25 damage. He lands just a chip shot, but it's enough to get above the damage threshold. But as soon as he starts to try to rotate in, High Ground just focuses him and beans him down to 58 HP.
Exactly what you'd expect to see from Hype, but Agers still found this little pocket, this little bubble, a breathing room, that is, until the surge damage starts to tick away at his life again. Agers just trying to see if he could come up with anything. Sure, they managed to dip a little bit into the placement points, but it's just not enough. They've got to go on a massive recovery tour for game 3. Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache, though, they've already found their spot in this lobby, and it's straight towards Hype.
Queasy has one motto: take height, don't get eliminated. And obviously in the first game, they gave it up because they didn't want to go down. This time is their chance. 400 plus damage above the threshold, and it's continuously counting upward, and they pull the zone. That is the biggest difference from game 1 to game 2. They now have the front side, and they have full control. And Proxy trying to fly his way in. He instantly gets knocked down, and now it's up to Pablo, Chino, and they're not immediately trying to drop down low. They're trying to assess the situation and figure out if they can take it.
Chino's been on fire. Pablo, still 3 eliminations too, but 11 elims despite losing Proxy. This is still a classic scenario for Pablo and Chino. They might still be able to make it work. They're trying to see if they can figure out, maybe take away a little bit of an advantage play, because these teams are looking for pre-edits in the mid-ground and even in the lower layers, but they're not going to allow it. Mustache, Swizzy, and Queasy are the real threat right now, though. They just continue to apply steady pressure to those mid layers. It's a big part of the reason why these teams are just getting so picked apart in between.
And you're seeing, as soon as they made it inside of the zone, they reconnected, making it that much harder for anybody to take them down. Marius, he's now trying to move up. 10 damage above the threshold. At least they're in front of the curve. Quickly looking towards the right, currently Cooper and Reed. That was their momentary target, but they realize they have to stay ahead of the zone. They cannot get too greedy and fall behind.
But nobody can come close to Queasy and Mustache. They're just still overtaking the high ground. King, big time though. Pink's eliminated. PH Sin soon to follow though. If he's not careful, he's gonna be forced to pull back here. But King and PH Sin, hip by hip. Flowberry Fizz punishing as much shield as they possibly can, because they have to keep moving forward, playing back of zone, because they have no materials. They're going to be forced to drop another layer. Height's not going to allow them to press forward any longer, and they might just drop directly into Epic Whale's hands.
You're seeing a lot of the damage again. Higgs goes down. Pixie cleans that one up. Queasy gets the knock onto Iyamzo. They're making sure that they make it count, that they got high ground in this game. 5 eliminations, and once again, they're connecting it. They're reinforcing. They're making sure nobody has a chance to contest them on the high ground.
Everybody underneath them is just a victim at this point, Jacob. Marius, Vanya, and Pixie seemingly undiscovered for the time being, though. Kanata in a little spot of trouble here. Just saw him take a massive chunk of his shield. Pixie now looking to play the medkit from the back to zone. Swizzy, though, shutting down Vanya the moment that he tries to push forward. And Mustache directly assisting here. Bolts, you're rocking a hard place, and Madi is going to be knocked. Marius eliminated, essentially. There's no way his teammates are going to be able to get to him.
Yeah, and you're also seeing Kanata fall, Rapid down. Not sure about both. Things are going sideways very quickly, and it gets even more worse because the zone is pulling over that mountain. If you didn't prepare for it, it's going to be lights out, but Swizzy trying to stop Surf Juice. He's gonna be the first one that does go down from Mustache. Queasy, that's a huge signal. That's a huge sign. They're trying to get away from this Catalyst on the low ground.
But Queasy and Mustache were the only ones that made it to the mountaintop, and Queasy, it is just raining down from above. Queasy continuing to find those eliminations. Pump gonna be dropped. It's only Baka and Yetko, and Panzer's been eliminated too. Queasy and Mustache away with it. No one left to challenge them. Kings of the mountain.
If you were to ask anybody, who do you think is gonna win? M8 is all what the crowd wants to see. And now 2 of their favorite players in the world just picked up a Game 2 victory royale. Here we go. Game number 3 is among us, and so much is going down around the map. It's kind of hard to keep focused. You got the Rangers ruin Osbong fight 1-1. You got the triple contested, or even now a duo contested Dystopia City. You got drop spot roulette being played out as well, and you got Queasy's team and Kanata's team at the top of the leaderboard. It's going to go to the wayside, and now they have to worry about their rotation, feeding them the punch. Art Skull and Salco, they might be below the damage threshold, but Poyo, Agers, Acorn focusing on this rotation because they know it's not going to get easier. In fact, only 7 builds onto Agers. It's going to get harder and harder unless they find that key refresh.
But look at Arc School and Salco. They're a little bit beat up here. Still, Mr. Savage, Cham, Frieza, and they're immediately trying to cut straight to the front side of zone. Might have been a little bit too ambitious here, though. The lobby has taken notice. Cham, no shield, no time to recover it just yet either. Mr. Savage doesn't have any white heals to his name. They've got to just fight it out with teams directly behind them. But Cham finally getting the opportunity. He's trying to see if he can replenish just enough to really frag out here for his team. Sod, Snowy, Ryu, though, doing a great job holding him. And Poyo stuck in the same booth.
Not good for Braids and Visuals. They're going to get eliminated, but Poyo is going to get dropped. Agers still taking a lot of damage. They're trying to use the crash pad to get out, but just stuck in zone. They go down, and it's Queasy, it's Swizzy, and it's Mustache yet again. Not only the Kings on top of the castle, but the ones lighting up the feed. Down below, a whole different ball game. Iamzo, Clicks, and Higgs, they are in the mud right now, having to figure out where they're going to go because Zone is slightly moving up over that mountain. They realize no other team is in their path. It's now or never.
But the problem is they've got Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache on height, beaming everybody underneath them. These guys are applying so much steady and consistent pressure that nobody's having a chance to look up just yet. They've spotted out a team tunneling through. It's Malibuka and Walks trying to see if they can break through from that secondary height position, but with Queasy now overtaking the front side, overtaking front side height. Now everybody else stuck underneath. This is everything for Queasy, Mustache, and Swizzy.
And just in the back pocket, you see 6 flashes, the exotic Slapberry Fizz, which heals HP, a just in case, but up goes Pixie. They're trying to go for that opportunity, but Mario says, no, 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 we need to disengage. We cannot go for it, at least not right now, but he's taking so much damage on his way down. But Swizzy distracted for a short moment. A lot of his shields go out the window. Luckily for him, his entire trio is still there. 2,000 damage above the threshold. They won last game with 12 eliminations, and they're well on their way to do it again.
And that's the problem for everybody else in this lobby, is that Queasy, he is just tarping fully unleashed. Nobody there to stop his pad. 2 of them, the best fraggers in the world by his side. And Kanata, he is down and out for the count. Bolts, Rapid, trying to see if they can secure a strong, at least break into that top 5 placement maybe. But Iamzo, Higgs, also a little bit scattered here. Iamzo's gonna fall. It's Higgs who's trying to come up big time here. Big elimination though for Higgs. Gonna buy him a little bit of a lifeline. He's doing everything he can to try and play through this backside of zone. The Siphon still carrying him just a bit further. But Marius, Vanya, Pixie, they're looking to layer swap. They know they don't have enough, and Marius taking out the moment that he tries to chop through.
He just gets stuck. That 1 second cost him what could be an opportunity here is Pixie's just trying to make it to the front side of the zone. He's just getting cut down every step of the way, but finally reuniting with Vanya. This is their moment. They have to figure out a way to make this count. They're missing a huge chunk of HP. They're using what they can out of the med miss, but there's still a whole team on high ground and another team lurking underneath. That's Chap, Savage, and Reason. They're making every single one of these uncontested games count as Vanya's making a play, challenging for the high ground. He has it for now, but how long can he hold on to it?
Vanya doesn't even care that it's just a 2 versus 3. He still tries to take that challenge, but Swizzy immediately, not against my IGL. I've got the backup here. Swizzy taking him out. Vanya, sorry that it's a fellow gentleman, but it's just business, not personal. Cammy also eliminated for Stash. Now trying to see if he can take out Chap along the way, but Savage, Mr. Savage still making it work.
This is it. It's basically all EU here in the end game. Chap down below, trying to make a play. He's gonna get cut short. Reason as well. It's all up to Savage, but no, the entire trio ends up back in the lobby. Swizzy has finally come down. He's ready to steal this game away. They have 12 eliminations, already matching their last game win.
Don't count out Pix, Darman, Demons, though. These guys love winning through the low ground. We've seen them do it time and time again, and Queasy with no materials. Pix also no materials. I drop lurking directly behind the team on low ground, though, and Mustache, Swizzy, they're starting to drop. They're trying to see if they can close this one out. Queasy finds a knock. Demons is out. Queasy going for the back-to-back. It is all Queasy, Mustache, and Swizzy for a Game 3 victory royale.
It's only taken 3 games to get our first team with not only multiple victory royales, but the back-to-back 12 eliminations in that last game. More than that in this game. We are looking what could possibly be a great team in the making. Frankie, don't you agree?
And we're back. One more battle bus ride taking us in to game number 4 here, Jacob. Alleviate that pressure, but Peterbot, Ritual, now looking to try and dive forward. They need more surge.
Oh no, from bad to worse. Baka and them on the other side. They not only get the reboot, but the first knock on the Cold yet again. Earlier in this game, they took down Peter, they took down Cold, and they took down Ritual, and they was on top.
Baka, Bars, and Pub have just won the hearts of the crowd here in Lyon.
Yep, top 17 though. This is where placement points are going to start to set in and cascade further with each and every team that does get wiped off the lobby. For Stash, Queasy, Swizzy, they are not backing down. They are not shaking. They're just terrorizing everybody around the lobby. Pars really feeling the pain there, and that's because they have that bird's eye view. Nobody is contesting Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache on the high ground, and look exactly what's happening because of it.
There needs to be studies done on Queasy's brain because this position is absolutely unreal. Mr. Savage, Chap, trying to do what they can to push back against Swizzy's pressure, but it's just so difficult to try and take those Bloom battles from overhead, Jacob. This is so much leverage over the rest of the lobby, and Swizzy now trying to make sure that he doesn't find himself eating more damage than what he bargained for, but still he has Mustache to depend on. The moment that Swizzy's shields get cracked, he falls back, and Mustache immediately picks up the slack.
It's gonna be tough because now we're going right back on over the open, and most of this next zone is just all low ground except for the far western side of it all, where there's gonna be a mountain that you could try to attach to. So you gotta make sure you plan ahead, peek through the cone, get the information. Yamzo, Clicks, and Higgs are doing just that. They're not the highest up, they're not the lowest either, but they're assessing the situation. Do we need to drop down further? Or do you let a team like Pixstorm and Demas get in front of you and try to land the damage? But not everybody is feeling as safe. Not everybody is feeling as comfortable. 66 damage above the threshold. Yapko, Panzer, and Seti, even though they're inside of that top 10, they still need to make that consistency count.
But do they have any Flowberry Fizz or Crash Pads? Because it's going to be difficult for them to work their way up and down this elevation. But the way that the zones are pooling here, Mr. Savage, Reason, and Chap now trying to see if they can work their way up from the underbelly of the lobby. They've got a semi-isolated layer, but they're going to be forced to drop. They don't have the materials to keep tarping through that mid-ground section. And underneath, where all of the congestion is very likely to start pooling into. That's just open season now for Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache.
Savage team 2 points away from hitting that top 5. And the thing is, they were 1 point away, almost missing the Major 3 Grand Finals. They were 2 points in that last spot to secure the global spot. A miracle run is coming out as Queasy, once again, almost 2,000 damage, back-to-back games above the threshold. Yapko, fans are steady. They're feeling the pressure from up above. You see a huge lack of not only materials, but resources as well as he gets cut short. The wall breaks him off. He's going to go down, but for Yapko and Seti, this is everything.
They're still trying to see what kind of placement points they might be able to collect. Every little bit counts for that team, but Vanya, secondary height, Cammy, Hottie, and iDrop, they've also been rather quiet throughout today, Jacob, but that could change in an instant. Mr. Savage, Reason, and Chap now trying to make sure that their back tarp is fully closed off, but Savage not having the opportunity yet to keep building through. Chap picking up where his IGL left off. That is always what you would hope for in a team. Iyamzo is sadly going to have to play it through with just Higgs, though. And this is a tough spot to be in, unless Higgs finds a big elimination for the refresh.
That was not only points for the elimination, but placement points as well, as the full trios wiped off the map. Acorn, Savage, King, Tayson, all going down. Yamso as well. A good shot being landed, but not good enough. He gets steamrolled by Dar. Marius is the one who took down Poyo. Him and Vanya are feeling the pain as well, because they have to do it without Pixie.
But they've at least got frontside low control, and that's gonna have to be enough. They're gonna need as many eliminations as possible because they need more materials, and we haven't even started the conversation of how to deal with Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache up above. Everybody else in this lobby looking substantially healthier too.
I feel like I've seen this episode of Fortnite before. Game 2, Game 3, and it's looking like it could be possible for Game 4. 370 points and counting. Only 2 teams in front of him, both of them weak. Vanya trying to do what he can, but he only has 1 teammate, Marius as well, with the full trio up above. They get the wipe onto 1. They're looking to close this one out as well. Marius in his line of sight, but Swizzy, he takes a big shot. That's a surprise attack, but luckily for him, his 2 teammates have his back. Mustache gets the drop on the Marius, stays alive. They're targeting out Vanya. 3v1 situation, and they go back to back to back to win another game.
When have you ever seen on the global stage the Tripskis of victory royales? Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache are setting a new precedent here in the 2025 Globals performance, Jacob. This is insanity what we are witnessing right now.
Only 2 games left on the day. You heard Zeke say it himself, and that just means time flies when you're having fun. One of the best events I've ever been a part of in person, and honestly, it hasn't disappointed so far. Queasy just lighting things up, back-to-back wins, and honestly, these contested fights have been telling a lot of how the game goes.
They could be in a world of trouble, but it's Marius, it's Peterbot. Both of them are not, but Pixie, he's got the better end of this deal. Vanya's still lurking overhead. Cole trying to see if he can recover anything from this situation, but it's not gonna come to fruition just yet. In fact, Pixie, he's gonna even be able to play for the revive. Vanya Boo-Boo not willing to chase down Cole just yet, but maybe after using some of these small shield potions, he'll feel a little bit more comfortable with that battle.
Insane scenes hit us yet again in Game 5.
Bolt's now losing all of his shield. Still, he'll have the opportunity to recover that, but it's the loss of Rapid that's really going to start impacting where Bolt and Kanata might end up here. Fortunately for them, Zone pulling a little bit away from those mountain faces, so as a duo, they can still look to break through the low ground, but Queasy, Mustache, Swizzy, Gentlemate's going absolutely ballistic in this audience right now, and for good reason. Mustache said it, we're just gonna keep winning, and they've got 3 already at the international level, Jacob. A land historic event, and they're still looking to see if they can get more.
We are literally watching the Queasy legacy in the making. Levin said it himself. The last time Queasy won 3 games in a row, he went on not only to win that major, but win 6 out of 12 games. times, something that has never been done on that region of EU ever before and ever again. And this could be that moment in history that you look back at when you talk about how great Queasy actually is. It is all because of this, but there's still so many threats in their path. They just have to look up. They have to try to go for high ground and stop the plate trade. Clix, Higgs, and Yamzo, they have been known to do it on NA Central. They just have to figure out how to do it here on the international stage.
And they might have to deal with Pars, Baka, and Pump along the way. Yapko, Seti, Panzer, they've also done a rather excellent job at just maintaining consistent performances, and they're looking for yet another repeat here, trying to clear some space in that secondary height, but they know if they want their odds to turn this into a victory royale, they're gonna need more than just secondary height. Pump falls to Clix. This is big time for Xset because they need to pop off here.
Yeah, they truly are looking elite as a trio and taking the front side of the zone, something Yamzo knows to do best, but they have to be careful. Marius, Vanya, and Pixie, they're bouncing around with those crash pads, instantly climbing up that mountain, and that just means better positioning right away, and that gives them that luxury to look back and see all these other players rotate through. He's peeking through the stair. He sees Acorn, Aders, and Boyo, but it's not ready to go for it just yet, and nobody has even had an opportunity to look up. They're attached at the backside of zone. They're attached right in the middle. It's not even going to be easy when somebody eventually does.
But that's the problem. Nobody else can actually make their way up towards the high ground because Sweezy, Queasy, and Merstache refuse to budge. They just keep shutting down every single opportunity, forcing these teams to converge onto each other as iDrop now trying to see if he can collect an elimination there, a knock, anything. He needs a massive refresh here, but it's Pixie who finds Hottie, Marius, Pixie, and Vanya now looking to see what more they can seek out.
4 eliminations so far into the top 12. Placement points are flying in. Half of them at least at the top 8 is Veno, Vico. They're in that line of path. Marius looking up for only a quick second, not really focusing on the Queasy up above. It's probably too hard. You see the materials being drained right out of their inventory. Everybody else feeling the same thing, forcing Yamzo, Higgs, and Clix to drop down low. The blessing is they're in the front side of zone, so they have a little bit more to work with.
But the control from Queasy, Swizzy, and Merstache on the high ground, Jacob, they're forcing all of these teams to swap layers to ultimate low, and with that in mind, Merstache, Queasy, Swizzy, just non-stop berating. These teams are forced, they're looking up, they're looking down, they're trying to find refreshes, but they have no breathing room. They are being suffocated right now by height.
With the conversations going on before the Global Championship, Boo probably smiling ear to ear right now with EU doing the performance that they are, but Kanata Bolts, they're trying to channel how they played in game number 1, finds a key elimination on the Re, not just elimination points, but placements as well. Cammy falls, more points from the lobby. Swizzy's trying to drop down low, he's just getting loot, he's bringing it back up to his IGL.
And that is all Swizzy has to keep tabs on alongside Merstache. Everything getting dropped at Queasy's feet so he can have the ultimate success here. But Marius, he's in too much trouble. Marius trying to squeeze away. It's Vico, it's Veno, and Flixie chasing them down. They know that they're going to have to clear out all of these players inside of these lower layers if they want a real shot at beating Queasy up on height.
Yeah, if there's any team that I think has a chance to look up and at least give them a fight, it is going to be them, as Marius is forced outside of the zone, almost a 1v1 against Clix, and Clix gets the knock. Can he get the elimination? No, he can't. No siphon for him, but the battle, the inevitability is finally here. Vico's taking charge, but he's also taking most of that damage. Flixie's forced to reload. Veno is in that mid-cut as well, a challenge that they did not find success on, but relatively so. Even if they might not have the high ground, they put Queasy and Merstache on the back foot.
And that's the problem, Queasy, Merstache, they could still tank a little bit of zone here just because of that exotic fizz, but at the same time, Vico, Veno, Flixie, they're now trying to remind everybody this might be it's Queasy's tourney so far, but we still want to take the from them. Merstache finding the biggest elimination of the Veno, the siphon carrying him forward, the hopes of Gentleman now resting on his shoulders. Flixie trying to hang, but Flixie wins it all, shutting down the dream here for Queasy. Veno saying it all, anything you can do, I can do better.
We talked about the 6 of 12. It was with that man right there, Veno, with Vico and Flixie by his side. They are looking like a terror on the lobby. Frankie, we gotta hear what from them by themselves.
last ride on the battle bus to score things out.
But what about the 50 other teams that end up over at Rangers Ruin throughout the course of the game?
That's what it feels like.
They realize how this fight goes, and typically it might be left to just one person trying to clutch up. As Fradoxy gets that first sweeper shotgun, it's going to work out perfectly. Chicho goes down. Tayson follows next. That's back-to-back eliminations, but Chino's going to go down. That's going to give them an opportunity back, and if you notice, Fradoxy has no more ammo in his shotgun, and Riz is trying to take advantage of that fact. He finally picks up a few, but the damage has already been done. Riz with only 3 HP, and Pablo and Fradoxy on the other side are at least a duo, a strong duo at that, and they have a chance here to end the fight, and they do so with ease.
I want to believe, but when Pablo is just that healthy, the outcome is basically inevitable.
Yeah, this is almost looking like a full circle moment, because remember, it was Fradoxy, Pablo, and Chino the one that even took down Mustache in the first place and put him in such a rough spot overall, and they really haven't been able to recover from it since. Take a look at some of the action going down around the lobby. Kanata just taking matters into his own hands. The first knock, that was easy. The second one somehow was easier, and now Kanata's looking to pressure that third elimination. And that's something big for them, because you can see he's all by himself, still taking pressure, still taking damage from all directions, and quickly running out of builds.
But if it resembles a shotgun, Ganada can still max it out, and that's all he's looking for. A couple of Flowberry Fizzes still left at his disposal. Seti, rather weakened, but his trio mate's still way too healthy. Panzer and Yapko can just overtake that part responsibility here. Panzer now holding down the walls. Hoyo, Agers, Acorn directly underneath. The elevation shifts can be brutal, but for Chino, Pablo, and Fradoxy, all above it all, they have no issues whatsoever, which is suppressing these lower teams.
This is their time right here to move up that leaderboard and hopefully maybe even get into the top 5, especially being contested by not only Tayson, but as that fight ends, so many other teams moving over in that direction as well. Marius, Pixie, and Vanya, this is one of the teams that they have to potentially go through as well. As you're seeing, Vanya get another elimination onto Mountain. That's their second one overall. 254 above the damage threshold. They're not focusing on taking any fights that they don't have to. Yamzo clicks, they both fall. Storm Surge is a huge thing that's taking them all out as the full trio's back to the lobby. Now Acorn's pressuring in. Marius sees him coming from a mile away. He goes up and over, dunking on him yet again. Now it's him versus Pollo. Zone's gonna finish the job. Marius with back-to-back eliminations.
Marius did such an excellent job at just pushing them fully back. That is a huge come up here as Agers now forced to try and see if he can bring it together. But Marius, he's just not slowing down anytime soon. Just continuing to barrel his way forward inside of the mid-ground layers. Fradoxy, Pablo, Chino with height in their control. I just don't see a way for anybody else to actually jump up towards them anytime soon, and Chino just continues to spray all those teams making their way towards the front side of zone.
And they even reinforced it on their way on over, patiently waiting for the zone to pull. It's going to work out in their favor for the most part. And you see Pablo right now, he's the one building their top on over because he has the double pump. Letting his teammates put pressure down from above is a huge part of their game plan. As they're 257 above, Swizzy, he has taken down Peterbot, their third elimination of the game, and they're cruising inside of the top 12. This is what I'm talking about. You cannot expect this team to just go down without a fight.
It's the boost of materials that they have to work with too. Yapko recognizing directly overhead. He doesn't have an opportunity here. Wixie on the other end of his wall. Yapko going to be forced to layer swap here. He is dropping to ultimate low, but he has hardly anything left to work with here, Jacob. Backside of zone. Anyone, it might just be Ping who comes up upon Yapko, but instead it's gonna be Marius, Pixie, Vanya now looking to play spoiler to these teams in the mid-ground. Marius just continued to tear away at everybody's HP.
Yeah, that double pump, and he's putting it to use. Storm is down in the outside of the zone. Marius is gonna clean that one up. Couple more points, push them further and further closer to Queasy, who's still alive, by the way. Yapko is solo. He's just trying to get the most out of this as possible. Only 5 on the med miss, no extra builds, scrambling around, trying to catch somebody off guard, but it's he who falls to Pixie.
Chino, Pablo, and Fradoxy still in the high ground. Swizzy and Queasy now working through ultimate low. This is a night and day difference for loadouts, but Swizzy still trying to bring it all together. He only has 5 builds, but he has to take a chance to heal, and Queasy picks it up where he left off. Eliminations onto Tisco now means that Queasy has some material to work with, and Marius, he's tarping his way through. Queasy is at. Not to mention Proxy, Pablo, Gino overhead.
This is a good moment for all the players down low. They're distracted up above, but not too distracted. They drop down. Surprise attack coming from above. Down goes Queasy. Pixie's gonna follow as well. Vanya's now by himself. He gets taken down by Gino. Pablo, Tino, they're the only two alive for the team from high ground to low. They're trying to take the fight to Demas, and that one is gonna be solidified. And a much-needed Siphon comes in just in time. A 2v1 situation, and it's Pix. He's so far out of zone, and the last medkit has already been used. A last desperation attempt to make his way into the zone, and it does not work. Proxy, Pablo, and Gino take the game.
That's right. So remember, this first 6 games is about setting the stage going into tomorrow's games. Guys, I want to go to the top. Queasy, Murstache, and Swizzy. I do not know how this continues to happen, right? But guys, it cannot continue to happen like this, can it?
It can.
It definitely can. I mean, looking at this, 521 points for Queasy, Swizzy, and Moustache. I mean, what I love, right? We talk about the victory royales. 3 victory royales, incredible on the day. Huge amount of eliminations. What I love, their ability to pick up the pieces, even when things don't go their way. We saw it in game number 1. They set up a hype really nicely. Everything was looking good. The zone doesn't pull their way. They said it in the interview afterwards. We got unlucky there. We'll look out for us in the next games. And what did they then go on and do? Unbelievable stuff. In that game, we saw it, of course, very, very split. Queasy going down. Then they had to try and find that reboot. And then, of course, we saw Moustache going down in the storm. The fact that Queasy and Swizzy were able to do so well in that game just shows they have everything that it takes to go all the way.